Hello everyone, welcome to the forecast. So let's take a look at the euro and the US dollar as usual. What we had was an ascending structure. So we had this, I would say, a big ascending structure right here. And then after the open we got a huge gap down. So currently I'm waiting for the price to break the low or the high, because when I see a huge gap like this, I tend not to take any trades. So I won't be looking for any flags or anything like that, or any retraces to the most recent low. I'm simply waiting for the break of this low and this high, because I know that these gaps usually signal to me some indecision and some volatility in the markets. When I see this, I know that there is no actual conviction up or down, and I need to see more evidence for where the price will move. So what I am looking for is an impulse up and then a flag, or an ascending structure and then a reversal, and then also look for a flag. Also what I'm looking for an impulse down and then a flag to the downside, or an impulse down and then let's say a descending structure, or a descending structure straight from here, then a reversal and impulse up, and then continuation pattern. So the usual stuff. Also I would like to see a push, pullback, another push, break and retest. That would signal to us a trend. Same thing down, so just a second. Same thing down, so push, pullback, another push, break and retest trade. Also I would like to see if we do get this larger range between the low and the high, which I do believe we will get, because Mondays and Tuesdays are range bound predominantly, and this is a lot of area where the price can range. So we know that there are liquidity areas above right here and below, and we need to see what happens when the price reaches the liquidity areas. So do we just break into them and retrace, or do we actually get some conviction and then a continuation pattern? Very important to look at that, especially if we get a larger range right here, because those liquidity areas can just be grabbed and then a straight retrace can happen. Okay, so let's switch to the euro and the Japanese yen. Now this one, well, we didn't have a gap, but we did have this huge impulse down. So we also had an ascending structure right here. Right here was this ascending, and then we opened and dropped to the downside immediately. And currently we are creating, I would say, a flag. If we do break the high and retrace, that would be a flag. But for me this is a no trade, because, well, to me this impulse is just very large. We are getting these wicks, so double wicks here, and for me this flag just would not fit my plan, because we are also getting a volatility. This looks more like a V than it does as an ascending structure and then a drop to the downside. So currently I'm waiting for more evidence on this pair. I'm waiting for the break of the low or the high. For me this flag right here just doesn't fit my plan. What would I like to see? Well, I would like to see a push up, look for a continuation pattern or a flag, same thing, ascending, reversal down, look for an entry pattern, drop to the downside, look for an entry, or a descending structure and then a nice reversal up, look for also a flag. And same thing as on EU, we can get a range right here. Since we do know Mondays and Tuesdays are predominantly range bound, we have to be careful with the liquidity areas. Same thing as on the EU, we can just break and retrace, but what I would like to see is a break and then some real conviction, maybe 2 to 3 candles after the break of the low, and then a continuation pattern, or maybe another push, then a break and retest trade. So one of those. And that is it for EJ. Now let's take a look at the Aussie pairs. So the Aussie and US dollar, I was in a trade. I think I covered it in the last forecast. So right here I took a short. It was a loss, but it fit my plan 100%. There was a nice trend down. I got tagged in, then the price dropped some more and got tagged out for 1%. I think I covered it already, but just mentioning it again, just in case. So this was a 1% loss, but it fit my plan definitely 100%, and for me it was a really great trade. So what happened then? Well, we formed an ascending structure. We broke the high, retraced, broke the high, retraced, broke the high, retraced, and then we had a huge gap after the open. So I would say the same story as on EU. After I see a gap like this, I'm not taking any trades. I'm waiting for the break of the low or the high. So I'm waiting for a push up, flag, ascending, push down, flag, or a drop to the downside. Also look for a continuation pattern, or maybe a break and retest trade signaling a trend. So here we would have two impulses. So one impulse, small pullback, and then another impulse which signals a trend, or a descending structure, reversal up, and then look for a flag. Also look for the liquidity areas if we do get a larger range. And one of the high probability entries would be, if we do get a larger range, then the liquidity areas need to be paid attention to. We can get an ascending that just ascends into the liquidity area and then a drop to the downside, then look for a flag. That is a very high probability setup, since we do know that the stops are being taken out right here, taken out, retrace, taken out, stops, retrace, taking out, stops, retrace, and that the price is very likely to actually reverse. So that's it for AU, and now for AJ, Aussie Japanese yen. I would say same story. We had an ascending, we had a huge gap open, and then we just, looks like we're going to completely close this gap. And that is a common pattern when we do get a gap. It usually just closes the gap at the end of the day. But as I said, we have no expectations, so market can do whatever it wants. For me, I'm waiting for the break of the low or the high, waiting for a nice push, then look for a trade or an ascending, reversal down, look for a trade short, push down, look for a trade short, descending structure, reversal up, and a trade to go long. Or we can get a larger range right here. Then we need to be careful of the liquidity areas. Very similar story on all four pairs. We had an ascending and then either a gap or a huge impulse down. But currently on all four pairs I'm waiting for the break of the low or the high, because this is just not giving me any conviction to take any trades. We know that when we have a gap, that's missing price action, so we want to see some more evidence. So yeah, that is it for the forecast, and I will see you guys in the Tuesday forecast.